I know you're really fucking tired of hearing about silver linings, so I tread lightly here when I say that the bad things that have happened in your life are the golden ticket to becoming the person you've always wanted to be. But here's the catch. Not everyone takes the golden ticket. It's extended to everyone, but not everybody takes it because it comes with a lot of discomfort. It comes with a lot of change. It comes with a lot of accountability, and not a lot of people can handle that. But you, my badass Wellish bestie, we all know that you 100% can handle it. So how are we going to take this fuck shit you've been dealt and turn it into the best fucking thing that's ever happened to you? Let's talk about it. Make sure to rate and review the show. It really helps get the episodes out to like-minded people like you and I who need to live a little bit more Wellishly. And of course, do right by you by subscribing to Wellish so you do not miss another episode. You can also get little Wellish tidbits throughout your week by following me on Instagram and on TikTok. Both of those are at Wellish Podcast. And you can get Wellish lifestyle content on my personal Instagram at Sarah.Rittendale. First, we're going to call it what it is. It's not you being a victim, it's you being initiated. When life throws chaos, betrayal, endings, identity crises, it is not a punishment. It is the universe telling you that you can level up to the version of you that you always wanted to be, that you always end up picturing in your head. And the weak, low capacity people cannot handle the greatness that you can become. And that's why they stay down low and you get to level up. But first you have to see it as that. And that's difficult to be able to look at this steaming pile of bullshit situation and be like, yeah, this is like really a good thing for me. It's like the universe telling me that I can level up now. Like, it's hard to see it that way. Really, really, really not fun. So you first have to see it that way. And then you start your training course. You're only at the beginning. Sorry. Contrary to popular belief, growth isn't pretty. It's not like, yeah, I'm gonna like read this book and I like listen to a couple podcasts and like now I know some therapy talk and I'm healed. It actually comes with a lot more negative thoughts and feelings that the general growth and healing self-improvement community lets on. And honestly, it's more negative thoughts and feelings than it is positive ones. The growth comes from being able to overcome those negative thoughts and feelings, like those little bursts that you realize, like, wait, I don't have to give in to that negative inner critic anymore, that being hard on myself anymore. I can actually think this way instead. I can have self-compassion. I can have self-trust. That's the breakthrough that causes growth. But a majority of the time, you're in those negative thoughts and feelings. It's like that really bad thing happens, and let's just, for sake of easy numbers, say you're 90% toxic. When I say toxic, I don't mean you're behaving toxically. I mean, that could also be the case here. That's 100% a possibility and fair and true. But I just mean you're not well, you're not healthy, you're not living it. So you're more in the ish for Wellish verbiage, if you will. So you're 90% there. And then as you work on healing, as you go through your training course, okay, you're growing, you're understanding yourself, you're taking accountability, you're sitting in the discomfort, you're trying to understand yourself, you're digging for your inner wounds, you're learning more about your childhood self, you're journaling, you're meditating, you're exercising, you're trying to get better, right? You move farther and farther into being more well than toxic. So maybe you start 10% well, 90% toxic. And as the growth slowly transcends, maybe you eventually become 90% well and 10% toxic. And that's normal because we all have those toxic thoughts from time to time still. But what's important is what you are a majority of the time. Most people experience the bad thing and they just stay there. Or what's more likely to happen, I swear with a lot of these people, is they get worse. They avoid the discomfort of having to actually face themselves at all costs. So they never get to cash in that golden ticket and begin the training course to becoming the best versions of themselves. They stay stuck in the swamp of the negativity and the bullshit and the lack of growth, and they never change and they never expand their capacity to be a better, more capable, more dreamlike version of themselves. The universe is handing out plot twists like invitations, but you have to actually accept the invitation and then go to the event in order to reap the benefits that the plot twist is providing. It can just sit on your fridge for all eternity, taking up space, staring at you like you know it's there and you should do something about it, but I'm going to keep procrastinating and I feel bad throwing it away because I know I should do something about it, but I'm just going to like let it sit here and fester inside of me and just pretend it's not even there. I'm going to ignore it. And then you just start circling the drain. And that, my friends, is karma for the people that do us wrong and can't take accountability for it, can't face themselves. They get worse and worse and worse because they cannot do it to save their lives. But you, please. The narrative needs to not be the victim mentality, for the love of God, because the narrative 100% is you saying, this is the part I become someone new. I mean, God bless a motherfucking plot twist. You know what I mean? Like, if everything went according to plan, you wouldn't become shit. You wouldn't even become close to the person that you ruminate about one day becoming, because you would be boring. You would be predictable. You would be trapped in your comfort zone. And I don't know about you, but the person that I dream about becoming isn't those three things. It's not somebody that's entitled because they've had their whole life handed to them without having to work for anything. It's somebody that is very deeply developed and has a lot of depth to them and a lot of insight and a lot of self-awareness, and somebody that's really had to overcome things in their life that make them a really interesting person. Plot twist force identity expansion. Think about every plot twist that's happened in your life. No matter how small it is, it felt big at the time that the plot twist happened, and each of them expanded your identity. You had to move certain ways, you had to make certain choices, you had to look inward on yourself and decide how you were going to respond to the plot twist. And you learned a bunch of stuff about yourself and about the world around you that you then put in your pocket and took with you into the next plot twist. And you're doing it all a lot of the time without even realizing it. A big thing about plot twists is they cut off paths that you never would have left. And how terrifying to think that you were on a path that you would not have left without that plot twist. God bless the plot twist once again. They reveal who the fuck you are outside of your relationships, your titles, your routines, your coping mechanisms, because they show the raw side of you. They show how you truly, genuinely, from your core, respond to the plot twist. A very common and relatable example is when a relationship comes to an end or is coming to an end, and you either lose your ever-loving mind, calling and texting them 1,000 times, showing up at their job, trying to, I don't know, impregnate yourself, contacting their new person, just making their life and, quite frankly, your life a living hell, or you just walk away like the bad bitch that you are without a fucking word. They act weird, they do their thing, and you just silence and leave and never look back and never talk to them again. What kind of person are you? The plot twist shows who the fuck you are. Because yes, you're the person that does all of the right things, and I follow my routine to a T, and I have great work ethic, and I really take my job seriously, and I do all of the right things, and I care about my family, and I care about my friends, and I go above and beyond for the people in my life that I really care about. Yeah, when things go bad, I'm good at being able to calm my anxiety and breathe through it and talk to a therapist or talk to a friend or do something to distract myself. But when the plot twist happens, all of that can go out the window. None of that matters. And let me tell you, I have been the girl that shows up at the job. I have been the girl that calls and texts 100 times. Never again would I be that person. That I was that person when I was like 20. I'm never, ever being that desperate person ever again. The person that has to get their attention by posting things on the internet and try to get them to contact me and trying to do all of this extra efforting stuff. Absolutely not. The plot twist happened at that point in my life. And when I was 20, and I said, I'm not that person anymore. I'm choosing to be somebody else. And then the next time a really messed up plot twist hit my life, I wasn't. That plot twist happened when I was 20, 21 years old, and I recognized that I had been handed all of these plot twists and I hadn't taken the invitation to make any sort of change, to take the golden ticket and say, I'm going to become somebody new. So that last plot twist, I decided I was never going to do that again. And after that, I went through all of the discomfort and all of the accountability and all of the growth that sucked and sucked and sucked until I hit my hardest plot twist yet, and I did not show up that way. I could genuinely look back and say I really did become somebody new, but now I'm like, hi, okay, now I have this new fucking shittiest plot twist I've ever experienced in my entire life come into play. So I got to start over again. I have to be somebody new all over again. I have developed into this person. That's great. I'm grateful for her. I needed to be her when I needed to be her. But now I will become the most powerful version of myself. You can see it, right? Plot twists build depth you cannot fake. This isn't shit going wrong. It's the universe dragging you somewhere that you will not go voluntarily until it is in front of your face. And it's like, look how fucking cool you could be. Go, do it. Are you going to do it? Go. And then you're like, God, I have no other choice because everything in my life sucks. So I guess whatever's meant to be is what's going to happen. Let me jump on this fucking path. And you get on it a little bit and you're on it, baby. The difference between the victim mentality and the I'm evolving mentality all comes from the story that we are telling ourselves inside of our head. The self-talk of a person that isn't taking the invitation, that isn't taking the golden ticket, really sounds like I'm embarrassing, I should have known better, everything always happens to me, nothing ever works out for me, why is this how my life has played out until this point? A lot of it too can sound like blaming other people for your behavior, saying, yeah, they were this, this, and this, so I had to do what I had to do, even though it was really destructive and it hurt other people. It sounds like not taking accountability for your actions at all and making excuses for the things that you do in your life because of these things that have happened to me. It sounds like arrogance and thinking you know everything so you don't have anything else to learn. But the person that does take the invitation, that does accept the golden ticket, is somebody that sounds like I surrender. I know that this is what is meant to happen for me, and whatever is meant to play out in my life is going to play out. And I know that by this playing out will be for my highest good. I accept all of the knowledge that this is giving me. I will be compassionate with myself as I move through this hard time. I absorb all of the information that this is showing me about myself. What was my role in the situation before the plot twisted? Why was I in that situation? What wounds in me caused me to cling to that situation? How can I start to heal those wounds so I don't repeat the pattern? And the hard truth is, most people tap out because it's uncomfortable. Growth requires self-awareness, even though that self-awareness is of your messiness, like is of your humanity. And you have to let go of the perfectionist mentality that you've probably been white knuckling for so long in order to survive, that you can't begin to face where maybe you could have gone wrong in life. But growth comes from taking accountability. And most people aren't willing to get that honest with themselves. Most people would rather stay in blame mode because it's easier and it's more validating. It feels like all of the things that you don't like about your life aren't your fault. It's easier that way. It's more validating that you don't have to look at all of the things you don't like about your life and know that it came down to the choices that you made. It feels better to say, Rebecca stole my boyfriend and my boyfriend started screwing my best friend, and now I'm lonely and I have nobody to hang out with. It feels better to blame them because they are shitty, weak people that would do something like that. But it's your choice whether or not you're going to be miserable. They don't get to have that power. You have that power. It sucks. They're shitty people. But what choice will you make from that plot twist? And when you can reframe it like that, like into a more empowering way, it's not as hard anymore. It's not as difficult to look at yourself. But the difficult part comes from the digging. It comes from trying to figure out why that happened and why you were friends with Rebecca who would do something like that to you, why you were in a relationship with somebody that would start screwing your best friend. And what things do you need to heal inside of you to no longer repeat a pattern that would put you in the same vicinity as people that have such low character that they would do something like that? Or maybe your plot twist is that you get fired from your job and you feel completely devastated because this was the only thing that you knew how to do and you don't have anything else going for you. You don't have any backup plans. What am I supposed to do with myself? Why are you in a situation that you don't know yourself well enough to be able to redirect? Why do you not have enough self trust to be able to navigate yourself through this situation? And what can you do to build those things within yourself? But a lot of the time, what happens is we cling to the old identity that went along with that situation. But reinvention requires letting go. And letting go is hard because you have to grieve this old version of yourself. And it really is a grief process. It sounds so weird and it's so subtle. You don't realize it because you think, of course, I want to develop. Of course, I want to become this new person. I don't want to be this old person that let people walk all over them or whatever your situation is. But it's so much deeper than that. It's having to move away from the coping mechanisms that helped you survive and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. It's not doing the same things that you've always done that feels so natural for you to do. So it feels like you're doing something wrong because you're doing something different. It's recognizing that your brain just doesn't see the world in the same way that it used to. And that can be kind of sad, Like, it's not like it's bad necessarily. It could really be a more powerful, strong way of seeing the world, but I see the world differently now. And I remember what it was like when I didn't see the world that way. I was more ignorant, and ignorance is bliss. And I miss that bliss a little bit. A lot of the time, it requires letting relationships go that don't serve you anymore because they're serving that old pattern. And as you grow and you develop and you re identify, that pattern and everything that served it doesn't work anymore. It just naturally starts to fall apart. Healing requires discomfort, and most people, why the fuck wouldn't we, try to avoid hurt because so much hurt happens beyond our control. So, this is something we feel we are in control of, and we try to do our best to protect ourselves at all costs. But really, in the long run, we're only hurting ourselves. Giving in to that instant gratification and just taking the easy route is what the average person does, but you are not the average person. So, how do we cash the golden ticket? How do we accept the invitation and go to the event? I want to give you a no bullshit guide in order to turn that fuck shit that you've experienced into fuel to becoming the version of yourself you have always wanted to be. The first thing is accepting the plot twist. It's naming what's happened and not hiding from it, not avoiding it. Naming it removes the shame and it gives you your authorship back. I got rejected. I got blindsided. I got betrayed. I got discarded. I got abandoned. Whatever it is that you experienced, name it, feel it, experience those feelings, feel through those feelings, and come to acceptance with it. That is going to take time to be able to accept it. It could take months to be able to accept it, but you have to start at that first step of accepting what happened. Honestly, it could also be pretty damn fast that you could say, I don't like this. I don't know what I'm going to do about this yet. I don't know how I'm going to handle this or what my life is going to look like, but I'm accepting that this is what's happened. And now I got to move. Now I got to do something with this information. Once you accept it, the second step is asking yourself what the plot twist is trying to activate within you. What wounds are you feeling are being punched open? Growth comes from the identity work. It doesn't come from you performing in the way that you're supposed to perform, or how the internet says you should handle it, or how your friends say you should handle it, or how your family says you should handle it. It's about looking at yourself. What is it trying to activate within you? How do you want to respond? How do you want to handle it from a true genuine place inside of you, not from your coping mechanisms and your survival mechanisms, but what is it trying to activate in you about you? The next step is clearly identifying the outdated identity that you are shedding. Who are you no longer going to be after this point? Step 4 is choosing your new narrative. If you were looking at your life like it was a movie, you were the main character in a movie, this is the plot twist of the entire story. What do you want your character to do next? What do you want that person to transcend into? And step 5, the last step, is rebuilding through small, gritty action. That it's going to be messy. It's not going to be fun all the time. It's going to suck. You're going to experience a lot of bad thoughts and feelings. And as you do that, you're practicing your well thoughts and you're moving into a space that you start to think more well than toxic. You have to let go of the perfection mentality. You have to let go of the mastery mentality. There is not a right way to handle this. It sucks what you're experiencing. It sucks that this plot twist has happened to you. I, by all means, don't want to discredit the fact that what you're experiencing is unfair. It's bullshit. They suck, and you don't deserve any of it. And you are totally normal and valid for wanting to do everything to protect yourself, including making sure you move in all of the right ways. And you're still going to do your best to do that, but you have to be compassionate with yourself and know that if you don't move in a right way, it does not make or break this experience. It only gives you more information about yourself so you can continue to develop and transform into the version of you want to be. You do something you don't like, you say, okay, I didn't like that. I'm not going to add that into who I want to be. That's not acting in alignment with that person. I did like how I handled this. I'm going to do more of this. You don't get to transform into your ideal version of yourself by staying comfortable. You do it by walking straight into the shit head on that other people avoid. The plot twist is your power. The mess that you have experienced is your proof. And the discomfort is your golden ticket to become the person you've always dreamed of becoming. And you, my Wellish badass bitch, you are taking that fucking ticket. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to tune in on Thursday. We're talking to artist Devora Brinkerhoff for an actual exercise that will help you heal the narrative that you have always told yourself so that you can start to become somebody new. Thank you so much for listening. I love you endlessly, and I'll talk to you again next week.